Povetkin, Anthony Joshua and Derek Chisora. Is Joe Joyce going to be able to do likewise tonight, I wonder? Looks composed enough, Ben.
Yeah, look, he's been in some big fights before. Experience is certainly one of the things that he brings to the contest in his favour. So it'll be interesting to see how he can have that play out in the fight.
I think I'm right in saying he's the shortest guy at 6'1½", shortest guy that Joe Joyce has faced as a pro.
Yeah, and having a height advantage can definitely be an advantage, but it can be a disadvantage as well, depending on how Takam goes about the fight.
Gather there's a problem with Joe Joyce's gloves. He's going to be coming in fairly soon. And indeed, now he is making his way towards the arena. There he is. He's there and ready to go. And he'll be getting the big introduction from Thomas Treiber very soon. Our little room's just down the road from there. I didn't realise I was only a couple of doors away from Joe Joyce. There we go.
I think his room's going to be a bit better than ours, John.
He can have the biggest room he wants. I'm not going to argue with him. Bit of a man mountain is Joe. Stands 6'6", and not too far off 19 stone for this particular fight. Sam Jones, his trainer, alongside him. And now what's going on? Another delay. This is not helping Carlos Takam, I don't think.
You'd almost thought they'd planned it.
Surely not. Surely not. I think we are, in a moment, going to have Thomas. Here we go.
And now let's welcome to the ring the defending champion, Joe the Juggernaut Joyce.
Great reception from the Wembley crowd. What is he wearing?
There's the answer to your delay, John.
Well, I just hope it's not as heavy as that stuff that Deontay Wilder was wearing when he went in.
I'll tell you one thing, it must be some size helmet.
I'm told that his appearance, which I've not seen before, I guess I'm just out of touch. Juggernaut from the Axeman. You'd know that, Ben, being down there with the kids?
No. Unfortunately not, no.
Well, there he is, stepping over the top rope. As you would do when you're 6'6½". And I think a few people who certainly doubted Joe Joyce before he fought Daniel Dubois, I think they believe in him now, and he'll be wanting to prove that that belief is well-founded tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our feature bout. It is scheduled for 12 rounds, and it will be for the WBO International, WBC Silver, and Commonwealth Heavyweight Championships. Brought to you by Greg Warren on behalf of Queensberry in association with Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing, along with their great sponsors, 32 Red, Foot Asylum, and Unibet. It is sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, Steward in Charge, and the WBO and WBC Supervisor, John Handelar, along with the World Boxing Organization, President Francisco Paco Valmarcel, and the World Boxing Council, President Mauricio Suleiman. CBC Supervisor is Debbie Down. Timekeeper is Brett Bowles. Our 3 judges assigned will be Predrag Alexic of Montenegro, Zoltan Enyedi of Hungary, and Victor Laughlin of Scotland. When the bell rings, our referee in charge will be Steve Gray of England. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the time has arrived. From the SSE Arena, Wembley, London, this is our Fight Night Live main event of the evening. Introducing to you first the challenger fighting tonight out of the red corner. He's wearing black with gold and weighed in at 17 stone, 10 pounds. A native of Cameroon, he was a longtime resident of France and is now making his home in Henderson, Nevada, USA. A 2004 Olympian, he now has a professional record consisting of 39 wins, 5 defeats, 1 draw, with 28 of his 39 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former world title challenger, Carlos Takam! And his opponent across the ring in this main event, he is the defending champion, fighting tonight out of the blue corner. He comes to the ring wearing red with orange, black, and gold, and weighing in at 18 stone, 11 pounds. Hailing from Putney, London, England, he is a 2016 Olympic silver medalist, and now as a professional is undefeated with 12 wins. 11 of his 12 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the current British and European champion, and tonight the reigning and defending WBO International, WBC Silver, and Commonwealth Heavyweight Champion, Joe the Juggernaut Joyce!
Well, you talk about wanting to make a statement. I'm sure that Big Joe, the Juggernaut, will certainly be wanting to do that tonight. Steve Gray, the referee, taking a final look, and I think suggesting that the protector of Carlos Takam is pulled very high. Here are his final words.
Don't throw punches over the back of the head, and you protect yourselves all the time, okay? Touch them up, good lads. Good luck.
Carlos Takam can be a little bit free with his use of the head. I wonder whether that could be a factor. I know that Joe Joyce, only too well aware, he's been studying that, and the fact that he does tend to lunge in as the shorter man, and that is something he's got to be very aware of.
Yeah, for sure. We saw that with the Anthony Joshua fight before. And as you said, I'm sure it's something that Joe is prepared for.
Joshua, taller, you can see. Reach advantage, not as much as you might imagine. Takam with very long arms himself. Both of them looking in superb shape. Joyce, who came to the game late, started as an amateur when he was 22 years old, having been a decent schoolboy rugby player, a good athlete. And still, as he said in that interview prior to this contest which you were hearing, he thinks he's not got too many miles on the clock, and certainly Takam has been around the block an awful lot longer.
Joe's not the quickest, but he's very unpredictable with his rhythm. We saw that in the Daniel Dubois fight, but he's got to be careful with exactly that, jabbing. Sometimes when Joe leads with a jab, that back foot can lift up as he steps in with a jab. It's something, as we said before, having a height disadvantage can be an advantage, and you saw that there.
He has got a tremendous chin, Joe Joyce, but I'm sure he'd rather not prove that. He doesn't want to be taking those big overhand rights from Takam, which is a little bit of a trademark punch. Ironically, it was that punch which finished him off against Derek Chisora.
Derek Chisora established a hell of a lot and invested a lot into the body of Takam before bringing the head over. Takam loves to counter left hook. Derek Chisora read that, showed him downstairs, brought the hook out of Takam and brought the right hand over the top. Something Joe's just got to be careful of is, as I say, stepping in with that jab, Takam getting underneath it and bowling the right hand over the top of it.
Joyce, as we know, though, has such a good engine. He will keep coming, and that left-hand lead is real quality. And I've spoken to a lot of people around the sport, and I know that the big lads all really rate him, and they say that he would be a handful for anybody, and they mean by that anybody.
He certainly will be, and that down the stretch will definitely be a factor for Takam. You can see what Takam's looking for, that right hand over the top of Joe's jab. So it's important Joe keeps changing the rhythm up, changing the distance up, and maybe put it out there knowing Takam's going to bite on it and make him pay for stepping in with the overhand right.
Well, Takam's landed a couple of those punches, but for the most part, this opening round, which hasn't begun too dynamically, has been dominated by the left-hand lead of Joyce. There's that right hand again, though, from Takam. That's, I think, the third time that he's landed with that sneak right hand over the top that Ben's been talking about. And another one, shake of the head from Joyce, but he's taking maybe just a few too many of those. There's another. Takam lands yet again in the closing seconds of the opening round.
With the right hand, like you're doing, lovely. He's going to get tired.
Welcome back to our main event, Joe Joyce against Carlos Takam, and anxious moments in the closing seconds of that opening round when he was repeatedly caught by big right hands from Takam.
Yeah, way too getting hit too often there with the same shot. Joyce needs to change it up, needs to vary that lead hand up. Unpredictable rhythm and some feints in between to throw Takam's timing off.
Well, we said that that was the danger punch from Takam, and he landed enough to certainly make it an argument that he might have won that opening round.
Yeah, I think Takam may have, you know, there's a shout to give him that opening round because, you know, the damaging shots and the more clear shots definitely came from Takam there.
Joyce will want to try and establish a dominance. He has got that phenomenal chin, though, as he showed also in that last fight against Daniel Dubois. But he doesn't want to be displaying it too much. Early stages as well.
When someone's consistently throwing back when you throw, sometimes it's safer to shoot and smother, and especially Joe being such a big guy and being able to tower over Takam, it was a tactic that Klitschko often used. You know, sometimes get your shot off, smother, use your weight and be physical with the opponent on top of them.
Giving Joyce plenty to think about right now is Carlos Takam. Bobbing and weaving effectively and varying his attack.
Better timing then for Joe, better timing.
Left hand from Takam to the body, looked as though it was a little bit low to me. And another one. It's under the watchful eye of referee Steve Gray, though, who was happy that there was nothing wrong with it.
A little bit methodical with that lead hand at the minute, Joe. Would like to see him feint a little bit more.
That's better. Working away behind that jab as he did so effectively in his last fight. Good body shots from Takam. And the right hand again over the top. And I tell you what, his corner are getting excited about this. They feel he's made a really good start to this fight. Joe Joyce only too happy, though, to go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, a few of those have been caught on the arms. You know, they're getting excited. You know, a few are getting through, but there's a few that Joe's blocking there and they're screaming for as well.
Good work again. A few oohs and ahs from the crowd as Takam lands. A couple of those big right hands over the top and another. Joyce having to walk through some real heavy shots. Well, you'll have your own opinions sitting at home watching as we are doing, but some of these big shots from Takam are really landing and thudding home, and there's another sizable argument there that Takam did enough to win the round.
Yeah, certainly there's a shout for that. I do think that he will struggle to keep this pace. He's putting a lot of effort into these shots. Whether he can sustain that, I'm not too sure, but, you know, I know Joe's got a great chin, but you can't keep taking shots like that as a heavyweight.
No, they're going to have a cumulative effect, aren't they?
For sure.
You know? And the Joyce supporters are just a wee bit quiet at the moment. The only real noise has been coming from the Takam corner.
Joe's taller and longer. He could potentially bend his back knee, sit his weight back a little bit, take away the height difference, but still keep the reach and length. Rather than standing up tall, allowing Takam to take his head low and bowl him over the top, bit like that.
Is there a danger that Joe's just been a little bit over keen to project the idea that he was going to make a statement here and show that he was going to finish him and win more effectively than Anthony Joshua did, and that he's therefore ready to step up that level? Is that a point?
A fantastic body shot there from Joe Joyce. There certainly is that. If that is the case, you'd have to ask Joe Joyce.
That one was taken on the shoulder, I think. There were some oohs and ahs from the bleachers, but I don't think that one landed flush from Takam. And Joyce is trying to walk him down, showing that notorious resilience that he has.
A few feints in between is going to keep Takam reactive, defensive, going to throw his timing off. He's often punching when Joe's punching, trying to get underneath and bowl him over the top.
Having to punch down Joe Joyce. But
yeah, and he's funny you mentioned that, John, because he's just switched it up there. He's started to lift his jab up from his hip, which will make it harder for Takam to get underneath it and throw over the top.
Oh, he just missed with that big right hand there. It's already starting to develop into a very, very interesting contest indeed. Takam is having his moments once more. Joyce trying to show his strength and just walk through Takam. Maybe Takam's work rate just dropping a little bit in this third.
Yeah, and I do think that will happen, but as I say, you don't want to keep taking these shots along the way. Something that worked massively for Joyce, started pinning him while he's bending down there. That's better from Joyce. Something that worked massively for Joyce in the Dubois fight was the unpredictable rhythm of the lead hand, and that seems to have gone out the window right now.
And closing seconds of the third. Joyce has had more success in this third round.
Oh, fantastic shot there from Joyce.
Takam takes it, but Joyce landed the most telling shot of the round in those closing seconds. And let's listen into the corner.
All right, you good? Okay, just at the end there, you start to get your timing and picking up those shots and coming back with them a little bit better, okay? I need you to not hold your feet in front of him so long, okay? Keep sliding around to that right side. Just stepping around, okay? Because it will slip towards the left hook and then the right hand. And you can see the right hand coming a little bit better, okay? A little bit more feet, okay? When you finish the combination, finish down step, okay? Get those hands back up. Okay? Half step out.
Is there any of them bottles in the water? Because that is...
Yeah. Okay, we'll get one for the next one. All right, you're good.
That's tap water.
I don't know who did it.
I'll get the water.
Well, interesting listening in there. What did you make of that, Ben?
I wasn't quite sure what he said there.
Well, Joe, I got the impression, didn't totally agree with what was being said to him. And the referee pausing the action, and now we are underway.
Potential turning moment at the end of that last round there, and it's important Joe keeps momentum, doesn't allow Takam to bluff him and get some rest now.
That attack in the last 20 seconds from Joyce, you know, I mean, I didn't think there was a lot in it in the rest of the round, but I think that was the most telling moment, and for that reason, you know, maybe he won that round.
Yeah, it's a potential fight turning moment, because I do think Takam started...
Whoa! Well, Takam would beg to differ.
Yeah, I do think Takam's very inefficient when he attacks. We saw that with Chisora. He is dangerous when he's attacking, but as I say, inefficient. And that could potentially have been a turning moment for Joe. Joe's just allowing him room to get underneath him there. Step in, tie him up, use your weight, be physical with him.
Giant heavyweights, of course. Well, they've always been big heavyweights, but there have been some tremendous guys who've been 6 foot and thereabouts. You think of Mike Tyson, of course, Evander Holyfield, going back, Rocky Marciano. You don't have to be a huge man to be an effective heavyweight.
No, exactly. As I said before the fight started, that a height disadvantage, using the right tactics, can become an advantage. But Joe shouldn't be allowing Takam to sit on his chest and push him back in that way. Should be getting on top of him, stepping into him, tying him up and being physical with him, using his physical size.
It's a body shot, good right hand from Joyce. Well, he was quoted by the bookies as something like 9-1 on Joe Joyce. He didn't look like that at the moment, does he?
No, Takam has had a good start to the fight. But I do think Joe's engine and durability, toughness and volume will start to play a part. But Joe's definitely taken too many along the way.
Takam with that overhand right once more.
Good body shot from Joe Joyce there.
He felt that Takam buttled forward. Referee telling him to keep his punches up, I think, but I'm not sure there was anything wrong with it.
Another good body shot. He's starting to invest in the body, which is something we saw from Derek Chisora when he fought Takam. Especially when he's exerted a lot of energy, it's going to help drain Takam.
Well, he and his trainers will have studied previous Takam fights long and hard, I'm sure. Takam winding up that big right hand again and again. Joyce trying to show that he's physically the stronger man, but Takam having none of it at this moment. You can see why he's been such a crowd pleaser over the years, Takam. He really comes with a will to win. Good round. Carlos Takam has put a huge amount into the early stages of this fight, and he's really blowing there in his corner, Ben.
He is. I believe that there was a turning point at the end of the third there. And Joyce has made a good adjustment, started going to the body. In boxing talk, they call it started stealing air from Takam by going to the body. But Joe does need a little change of height. He can't keep standing tall and allowing Takam to get underneath and throw him over the top.
I think there is very much a question as to whether or not Takam's going to be able to sustain this. He's invested an awful lot into the early stages of this fight.
He has, but he'll still be dangerous. He's a big, strong guy, experienced, tough, durable guy.
28 stoppages in his 39 wins.
Fantastic little uppercut inside there from Joe.
Joyce with that long and successful amateur career. So unlucky not to have taken the gold medal in Rio. Unlucky would be one word for it. Some people might use others.
Yeah. Just doesn't want to go away from taking that air out of Takam, go into the body and invest in the body and allow Takam time to rest in between his energy expending attacks.
Takam just taking a little bit of a breather maybe, but there's a big swinging left hand. He laughed at the quotes attributed to Joe saying that he was just going to run him over. And he just responded by saying, I am going to be a big, big test. And he's already shown that. Joyce just keeps coming as ever. And there's not been so many So many big shots from Takam in this round. It's allowing Joyce to settle into a rhythm.
Yeah, Joe's definitely started to break him up here. But as we said, Takam will still be dangerous, as you can see there.
Yeah, it's coming from way back, though, and it's now looking more like single shots from Takam.
Yeah, the investment in the bodywork in the fourth round's definitely started to pay its toll here. But Joe has gone away from it slightly. Just still needs to be careful stepping in too hard with that jab, allowing the shorter guy to get underneath and come over the top. Bit like that. That's why it needs to be unpredictable. He can probe. He can. If you look at Vladimir Klitschko, the jab doesn't always come from a traditional textbook position. He's got less to travel, less time for the opponent to see it. Good uppercut there from Joe. Takam's legs looking very, very heavy now.
Yeah, closing seconds of the fifth, and this has probably been, well, maybe the most emphatic round in Joe Joyce's favour so far. Looks pretty cool and composed. You agree that one was one for Joe Joyce?
Yeah, for sure.
Little left hand, left hook, little touches going in and around. He's got 2 bursts in him, like a couple of bursts, and then he tries to come on in the last 30 seconds, okay? The last 30 seconds, you've got to be super switched on. You've got a couple of bursts. You're picking up the right hand, you're picking up the left hook, you've got to come back with your left hook with that left uppercut, okay? Pick it up, come back, left hook, right uppercut, okay? And in those in-between points, you just got to keep switching him, grab, put his chest up to make it go finish on the left hook, okay?
Steve Broughton in the corner there. This is Dwight York. Yard, I beg your pardon. Dwight York, that would be a story, wouldn't it? Let's say Dwight Yard. He's in the corner with Carlos Takam. Sorry, Dwight, if you're watching.
I'll tell you what, Joe would have been careful. Oh, fantastic left hook from Joe there.
He's going to jump all over him now. He's got him going.
Just needs to be careful still, don't want to burn himself out.
He thinks he can take him here.
Just needs to be careful. Takam can bowl one over.
Takam, has he regrouped? Joyce is gambling a bit here,
He
and
doesn't
Takam's
need
still
to, he doesn't
there.
need to. He doesn't need to take silly gambles and silly risks. That's better. That's better. A little bit of room to pick his shots. That's much better from Joe.
Joyce trying to put his punches together now, trying to pick his punches, and Takam's taking a lot.
Referee should be having a look here.
Is he about to go? Is he ready to go? Referee
Downstairs
Steve Gray.
as well.
Referee Steve Gray watching on very, very closely, and it's all over. It's all over. Joe Joyce gets the win he wants in the 6th round, and when he got him going, my word, he didn't let him off the hook. Great finish.
Brilliant finish from Joe. Composed himself halfway through. Knew he was being a little bit reckless. Composed himself. Picked his shots a little bit better. Was it a little bit soon from the referee? Someone of Carlos Takam's experience. Not too sure. Was he saving him for another day?
Takam is raging at the referee. He is furious.
He was definitely on the verge of going. I suppose it's individual opinions on that one.
Personal pride, I guess. But Joyce was right on top, and the referee was watching very, very closely. He's the closest guy.
He was, and you know, potentially, I know he's an extremely tough guy, Carlos Takam. Was he on the verge of a few more clean shots, putting him over and putting him out? Does his reputation, you know, if that was somebody else, would we be saying the same thing, or would we say good stoppage?
Well, Joe Joyce going over and sportingly giving a little hug to Carlos Takam, but this is the start of the round, and that's where it all began.
Yeah, brilliant left hook there from Joe. Got a little bit carried away with his attack, but composed himself, showed experience there, composed himself, got back to picking his shots.
Takam right in there then, but now this is where he starts to mount another big attack, and you see the referee watching on very, very closely. And to be fair to Steve Gray, not a lot coming back from Takam there. Furious, instant reaction from Takam, and there'll be plenty who'll say, well, was that too soon? I don't know.
I think if it was somebody else without Carlos Takam's reputation, then you may say good stoppage. Someone with Carlos Takam's reputation, did he deserve a little bit of a longer go? Has he been saved for another day? Like I say, it's probably open to individual opinion.
Well, Joe Joyce certainly gets the spectacular win that he wanted. He wanted to make a bit of a statement. Do you believe he has?
I think, you know, broken down on paper, he's got Carlos Takam out of there quicker than the rest of the guys. I will say, be honest, it was a bit of a shaky start. Was that due to an element of complacency, maybe? Was it a stylistic thing? However, you know, we did say that early on Carlos Takam wouldn't be able to maintain that pace.
Well, there were signs, weren't there, that I think we picked it out first time in the fourth round, that he was clearly not able to maintain the work rate of the first two. Yeah,
there was a turning point at the end of the third, and if Takam wasn't stopped there, we know that Joyce could keep that pace all night. So I think the fight had already made taken his turn.
Well, you know, I'm normally a big supporter of referees because they're the closest to it, you know, and the bottom line is that this is a sport and nobody wants to see a fighter carried out, and the way Joyce was unloading on Takam, you were beginning to worry.
Yeah, for sure. I actually think I did say the referee should be having a look here. As I say, the fighter taking his turn, that fight was only going one way from there on. Would Carlos Takam have seen the round out? You know, it's just more punishment. Someone of that age, is it necessary? I'm not too sure.
Well, there are the thoughts of Ben Davison watching with me at ringside tonight. Our main event over, and this is how it ended. Here's Thomas Treiber.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the official time. 49 seconds of round number 6. Our referee in charge, Steve Gray, stops the contest. Therefore, your winner, and still WBO International, WBC Silver, and Commonwealth Heavyweight Champion, Joe the Juggernaut Joyce.
The Juggernaut rumbles on. Win number 13 for Joe Joyce. He's done what was needed, and he does it by stoppage. And I think most people will say, well done, big fella.
And that's 12 stoppage victories in his 13 as a professional. Enzo Maccarinelli, first to you. At the top of the show tonight on BT Sport, you said, of course, the W is the most important thing, but it was incumbent upon this fellow tonight to put on a performance to underline his credentials. Has he done that?
The performance-wise, the stoppage-wise, yes. You know, he come on strong. He's seen Takam hurt. To be honest, that was the most... He's never been known for his defensive skills. He's never been known to be very elusive. But tonight, he seemed to get caught a lot more than he always has done.
Took a few risks tonight.
Yeah, he did. And I think it was mentioned earlier on in the programme that Takam is the shortest boy Joe Joyce has fought. And I think he's actually struggled with the height, because he was standing there, and when we would normally say keep him at distance, keep him at range, with Takam, Joyce was safer up close.
Now, Josh, again, and the importance of demonstrating to everybody, showing a bit more on the fights that make you as a superstar. Maybe Joe Joyce's approach tonight was to say to himself, I need to show a bit more and take a few more risks. Did this performance not demonstrate that?
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of in half of two minds. He did well to get the stoppage, came up with the left hook and jumped on and got him out there. But that performance for me was one of the worst I've seen Joe Joyce. Being a little bit harsh, but being really honest here, I thought he got caught far too much. He was so static and kind of robotic looking at times. If he comes out and does that against Anthony Joshua, who's bigger, faster and stronger than Takam, he's in real trouble.
But you know? Josh, one might argue that he took the risk because he knew ultimately he wasn't going to get punished severely for that.
Yeah, but it's heavyweight boxing. You can't take risks like that and keep getting hit in the head like that. You know, against Anthony Joshua, if he boxes like that, I fear the worst. You know, he'll get hurt. You know, that's one of the worst I've seen Joe Joyce tonight. Although he done well to get the victory, and the W is important, and he's now the first in the line for the big shot. But I really wasn't impressed with what I saw there.
Tonight, isn't it?
It's a big victory, yeah. But
no, the big picture tonight.
It's to get the shot at Anthony Joshua. Yeah.
His status, and he has underlined that. I know you can pick fault in some elements with the performance, but that career terms, that's the step he needed to take, and he's done
that's the step he needed to take. And now he's in line, first in the queue, hopefully for the shot at Anthony Joshua for the WBO. But he's got to go back to the gym, and he's got to work on a lot of things before that fight happens.
Enzo?
Basically, you know, some people's styles, some people's height, it don't suit other people. You watched Joe Joyce against Daniel Dubois. He knew Daniel Dubois had thunder in his punches. He kept it long, he kept it at range. He was, I wouldn't say elusive, but he was concerned of what's coming back. Tonight, I don't think he was concerned what's coming back. He seemed to stay at a distance where Takam was more comfortable. Takam was throwing them bombs over the top, which we said earlier was his best chance. Later on, he started getting closer to Takam, which nullified Takam's shots. Was it a great performance? No, but you know, let's be honest, not every style suits each other. He will be better, and I think someone taller suits him, but it is worrying the amount of shots that he is actually taking. And like Josh said, someone like an Anthony Joshua who will explode 3 or 4 shots at a time at him is a big difference in Carlos Takam one shot.
Yeah, he maybe wasn't worried about what was coming back, but he could still be practicing his defensive skills. You know, he just seemed to be trying walking through them, and it's pretty worrying when you've got a guy like Anthony Joshua in front of you who's big and strong, and you know, if he hits you like that, you might not be walking through them.
Not making excuses, but I do believe he struggled with the height. I really did. I think he's 6'1", he's 6'6". Having a punch down is a lot harder than punching up, and I think he really struggled with the height of Takam, and Takam making himself low, and he seemed to overreach, and every time he overreached, he got punished. Look, I wouldn't say he got away with it tonight. He's won well. You know, there's harder fights on the horizon for him.
Thank you both for just a moment. Down to Steve Bunce.
Joe, congratulations. Frank, I'll come to you in a second. Joe, was it harder than you expected? Was he tougher than you expected?
Yeah, he's a tough African lion, so, you know, all credit to him. And, you know, it was a good fight. He hit me with some good shots, and I managed to kind of work him out and where to land and stuff. But, you know, he's still dangerous. Like, so I had to take my opportunity when I saw it.
You ripped him apart with a left hook at the start of the 6th, then took him apart with the other shots. I thought the stoppage was perfectly fine. But Joe, did he ever hurt you? Did he ever hurt the Juggernaut?
Yeah, I mean, mildly. I'm pretty tough as they come. So, you know, I weathered the storm and fired right back.
Sometimes, Joe, he was throwing those right hands. Everyone can see them in all the seats, but he seemed to catch you with them repeatedly. Was it because they weren't hurting you that much, or was he just coming at a surprise angle for you?
It's to do with technical skill and tactics, and, you know, being able to ride shots, block shots, use my footwork is like, you know, the sweet science of boxing. So I use that to great effect.
And Frank, he's excited. He takes shots, he lands shots, he knocks people out. That's what heavyweights are meant to do, isn't it?
I've got to tell you, it's a very, very exciting heavyweight fight. There's no doubt about that. They both gave everybody value for money, and it was a sensational finish.
And I had no problem with the finish. What about you, Frank?
No, I didn't. Look, if you're taking shots and you're not throwing them back, the referee has no alternative, and he was not throwing shots back.
And what about you, Joe? What did Carlos say in the ring to you at the end about the stoppage?
He didn't say anything about the stoppage, but we were just having a chat, like, you know, because yeah, I was just you know talking to each other, like paying our respects and stuff. Because yeah, it's a good fight. He's a warrior. He's been in so many great fights and stuff. So yeah, man, it's a good fight.
Joe, do you watch back your fights afterwards? Do you watch them back and analyse things that you could have maybe done differently? Is that something that you do, Joe?
Yeah, so when I get back to the hotel, I tend to watch my fights back and analyse my performance, see where I can improve, see where I got caught, and, you know, learn from my mistakes. You know, if I get hit with silly shots, then, you know, there's something I can work on in the gym and keep on improving.
And that's the only way to do it. So where now, Joe? What do you want? I've asked you this question for the last 2.5 years. What do you want? Where do you want to be in 6 months, 12 months?
Well, what I want is AJ or Usyk.
Frank, is it that simple, AJ Usyk? The crowd wants it, he wants it.
He's the mandatory challenger. He's #1 now. And obviously AJ and Usyk again on in September. And then he becomes the mandatory challenger to the winner.
And might there be 120 days before the fight?
No, I'm not. He's the mandatory challenger. When they let that happen, they will decide. I don't know what, you know. Usyk's a mandatory.
Yeah.
So I think that's, although that's behind time, that's a mandatory. But I think what will happen, providing AJ wins and providing Tyson Fury wins, that they'll fight first. But then the winner will have to fight him.
So that could be late next year. Joe,
we'll see what happens. Or if the title gets vacated, Joe,
then he fights. Yeah, that WBO.
So
Joe, we've had all sorts of fights. The Dubois fight, which was a great fight, an intense fight. That tonight, you know, you took some shots, silly shots you called them, and you come back. Does Joe Joyce need any more tests before he gets close to either Usyk or Joyce? Does it?
No, I don't need any more tests. I've you know, picked the levels up and strategically moved. So, you know, I've started at the deep end, and I'm carrying on that way on a steep trajectory. So yeah, I'm ready now.
And you're still enjoying it, Joe? You're still enjoying it? You're still enjoying being
I love boxing. Boxing's my sport, and I'm doing well. I'm loving it, and we're putting on some great shows.